Well, I just would love to use this time just you're already sharing so much about what you're currently doing. And I believe that Maddie was referencing a Facebook post where you gave some of your backstory, but I couldn't find it. Was there a story that how it how you came to be so really passionate about life
Ah,
skills,
um,
especially for youth?
yeah, I just did last week. It was something for Teen Coach Challenge. Someone
Yeah,
was running a 10 days challenge for teen
yeah,
coaches. And I said, okay, I will
yeah,
join. Yeah, I
yeah,
can use the help.
yeah, yeah.
And one of the challenges was like to share your story,
Yeah.
how you became a teen coach and who you work with,
Yeah.
so it was actually a very good challenge, and I was
Uh-huh.
surprised about the amount of comments and replies, and it was nice. I'm not a big fan of
Yeah.
Facebook to
Yeah.
begin with, to say the least.
Oh. Yeah. Oh,
So
was this on your personal page? Was this on your or on your business page?
yes, yes, I
Oh,
think so.
okay. That's why. Because I didn't see it on the PQ
No, no, it's not about the
for you.
PQ. It just,
Well, it is. It is. It's all
I
about what
mean,
brought you here. Yes.
yeah, it is about the PQ, but it's not
Okay.
part of this community. It was something I did external, and
Yeah.
Maddie and Liz, and I think some other PQ coaches from this community
Yeah.
replied, they
Yeah.
saw it. So this is how
Well,
it
I'll have
came
to
came
friend. I'll
here.
have to friend you so I can see that one
Yeah.
as well. Oh, I just don't do the Facebook well. Yeah, so I will definitely take a look at that as well too. I'd just be so interested in. I think you're focusing a lot on the fixed mindset of students, and you've identified where, perhaps in Thailand, but I would say here as well. But I think there can definitely be differences, culturally. That's a big challenge.
Yeah.
Is that where you're finding that you're getting some of the most traction? It seemed like with the
I,
post-it notes, things like that on the Jam board.
yeah, I find it that PQ is amazing. Like I think we all agree about that. It
Yeah,
needs some foundations just to make them believe that they can change, because so
yeah,
many of them, you can see it in the class when you try to, like, they give I teach science, so it's kind of challenging for many of them,
yeah.
and you see that when I get students, it's called M1. M1 is grade 7. Yeah, I started with grade 7.
Okay. Hmm.
So you
Hmm.
see when they come to the first class, in 3 minutes you can see some people's like, science, it's not for me. I'm just gonna wait for the class to over so I can go back to my life. And like they don't give it a chance. And I get it. I get it. There are some teachers that it's a demanding subject. That it's not for
Hmm.
everybody, and because they probably tried before and it was like too hard or whatever, and they just gave up, and that's it. They don't give it another chance. When they come to me, they come from another school, like I don't know how you say it in English, but lower level, primary school. Yeah,
Hmm.
primary
Yes.
school.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah, that's the
Hmm.
one. So so it takes time to just to show them, wait, it's not that bad, and just give it a chance. Try. I will try, always try to explain things with video clips, with some visuals, so they can get it, or especially try to give them examples from everyday life, so they can see, like,
Yeah.
science is not out there. It's actually here. I use it every day. So
Hmm.
they need this kind of foundations before the PQ. So I thought that the fixed mindset and growth mindset, it
Yeah.
was a huge thing for me when I discovered it. And it's like, yeah, actually, I can change. It's nothing is
Yeah.
fixed. And it took me a while to realize that they are in the same place. They don't believe that they can change. So
Yeah.
before we go into PQ and the voices and everything inside, just
Yes.
it's kind of a reset that you can change, you can, nothing is permanent.
Yeah.
And it takes time. Like I said it yesterday, we plant seeds and we
Yeah.
wait them for to grow. It's beautiful to see that students with growth mindset, the
Mm-hmm.
seeds immediately start to grow. It's like a fertile soil, and the one with the fixed mindset, it takes time. It can take a long time.
Yeah. I mean, one question that I have, because I like how Shirzad always talks about, the why. And the more that we connect with a person's why, the more the coaching, really unfolds a lot from there. And I think one of the tricky things about school, because I am very interested in such a rich topic of reducing the school stress, and where we students could be able to go through the work that they have to do, with much less stress, and actually taking up less of their time and their mental space. But I think one of the obstacles that you probably see as well too is that if you're already in that checkout space when it comes to school, you're already showing up to class and I just can't wait to get back to my life.
Mm,
And someone even presents, oh, you could learn that, you could learn this, easier and faster, and excel at this, and it could be less stressful. It's like, well, this isn't even part of what I want to do.
mm.
So like, do you have any thoughts about like what, I mean, for some students that might already really resonate because they might be interested in science or excelling in school. But do you have any sense of like what is some of the why of like that would motivate, that would have some inherent motivation because it's already something that matters?
So I tell you what, I've done something way before I was exposed to the PQ in my
Yeah,
classes, because school system, it's not great. The system is not working. It's outdated.
yeah,
They study things that, to be honest, they don't need to study today with all this internet and technology,
yeah.
but they still have to.
They
And
have to, yeah.
when you ask the why, like, if they ask why I need to study it, and I'm the teacher, and like, to be honest, I don't know why you need to study it, but we all have to because they said so. So
Yes, yeah,
what I
yeah,
tried is to try to break the system in the way that, okay, we are in school, but
yeah,
let's try to change the atmosphere. So instead of grades, like, you have,
yeah,
by the way, the system of grades, it's terrible, because 100%, if you get 90, which is great, it's like, no, it's not good enough. You already tell them you are not good enough. So
yeah,
I looked into games. Everybody loved games.
yes,
And I think
yeah,
games, you don't never get 80%. You get points for what you succeeded.
yeah,
You cannot fail.
yes.
Even if you die in the game, you haven't failed. You
Yes.
just,
The appeal of video games, right? Like,
yes.
yes,
So
Yes.
the concept of gamification is it's
Yes.
brilliant. And what I did, instead of grades, I give them experience points. And to break it from the 100, the dreadful 100, I give them like, to be honest, the grades here in Thailand, it goes for like 20 points per unit. So
Yes.
instead of 20 points, I give them 20,000 points. And so at every quiz, every homework, and they
Yeah.
bring the book, okay, you get 200 points, you get 500 here, 1,000 there. So it's kind of break. It's not a grade anymore. It's points,
Yeah.
experience points.
Oh, it's so good.
And then the thing about stress, they definitely are very stressed, especially now when they are
Yes.
locked at home.
Yes.
Um, so to break the stress, it's like, okay, if you don't want to do the homework or whatever, no problem. I'm not gonna, give out to them, or, "No, you have to do the homework. It's important." It's like, Okay, so you don't get the points, but it's not a problem. You can get the points in other ways. Like you can help a friend. If you are getting everything and your friend have problems, help your friend, you get points. Speak English in the class, you get points. So it's completely break this concept of grades, and if they get like more than 20,000 points per unit, which is definitely possible, okay, it's not, it's going to the next level, like it's the next unit, but okay, level up.
Yes.
You start not from zero now, you start from what you got in the previous level. So the points keep on going with them. So it's very motivating for most of them.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's not about PQ, but it just um, shift the mindset from it's school, I hate it,
Yes.
this grade are terrible, and just okay, we're just playing a game, and you can get as many points as you want, and if you don't get points, so you don't. It's like, when you play a game and you die in the game, it's not like, oh my god, I'm terrible, I'm so bad. No, let's
Yeah.
play again, and I try harder. So
I just gotta soak that in a bit because that is so. How long do you have students for? Is it for a year or is it for multiple years or for a semester?
so it's a good question. I
Yeah.
get them for a year, like we have two
Yeah.
semesters here.
Yeah.
Um, for whatever reason, they changed the way it works now. So I used to get a class, let's say grade 7, and I had them in term 1, and then we continued in term 2. So
Yes.
the science was spread throughout the year. And
Yeah.
they have another science subjects, but anyway, I had them for the whole year, which
Yeah.
was very good for bonding, for, you get to know each
Yes.
other.
Yeah.
Now, for whatever reason that I gave up on trying to figure it out, it's no. I have them on the first term, for example, and then they are gone. Second term, they are
Wow.
gone, and then I will see them again in the next year. It's completely break all the connections. It's so much harder, and yeah, it's so bad. It's like if it wasn't bad enough, they found a way that let's make it harder for everybody.
And especially with what you're doing, um, because it really takes time to shift
Yeah.
that. I mean, I know I went to a experimental kind of innovative school in high school where like we literally didn't have a math textbook. We would do problems and then we would teach each other the math concepts.
Mm.
And it's just fascinating how it really takes a year for students coming into that system to kind of get a hold of what that is, what that means and what that is
Mm.
like because it's so different. And then it just shifts what we think of as schoolwork and learning. I just can see how your gamification of, it's just teaching so much more. And I hope that maybe at some point you can connect with Jennifer and Dana, who are education consultants, and I mean, they're brilliant at just creating, these kinds of,
Mm.
curriculum design that helps that sense of voice and choice in the classroom because wow, okay,
Yeah, we really have to be creative. And yeah, at the begin, many years ago, I tried to change the system, like to go up, to
yeah,
the boss, and
yeah,
it was a lost war. So I decided, okay, I cannot change the system. Luckily, I have freedom in my classes, so at least
yes,
I
yeah.
still have the curriculum and everything that
Mhm.
we have to follow. But how I do it and any
Mhm.
approach is acceptable. So nobody cares really. So I try
Mhm.
in this way. And
Mhm.
again, if I have them for the whole year, it's like we said, you plant the seeds
Yeah.
and you grow them throughout the year. You have to water it all the time.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
now what they did is like you plant the seed, you water them for one term, and then okay, I will see the plant next year. No, it's dying. It's just
It's
dying.
yes. Oh. Have you, I think you mentioned this, have you done some with extracurricular activities? Have you done anything with extracurriculars with the schools?
What do you mean?
Like when they have a after school activity with you, um,
Ah,
where
no,
it's
no.
not in the classroom, but is like part of the school day, but it's or it's like or it's even not part of the school, but it's something that they sign up for and their parents pay for, and they choose to do like a sport or a dance or a math club or something like that.
Yes, so I was planning to have my life skills academy
Yeah.
where I teach them this PQ and life skills, like, about money, about there are
Yeah.
so many things that
I
we
mean, yeah, I
need.
just love those procrastination and
Yeah,
finances
I
and
mean,
all these topics that you, yeah.
I was coaching adults, and you can see, like me, like everybody else, all the problems we have,
Yeah.
nobody ever teach you how to deal with them. And no wonder everybody is so messed up. Like, and then I said, you know what? Why not go to the source? Like, before they get
Yes.
all screwed up, let's give them the tools when they need it. And in school, just wherever you look, there's nothing there. No useful tools for a great life, like they should have, like we should have.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just give them some tools, and this mindset is one thing. PQ is like it's a gift that wow. It's I did it with some teacher in the school,
Yeah.
and they're like
Yeah.
they bless me every day for this tool that they can
Oh,
use now. And like yeah, why not kids? So
yeah.
the plan is to do it after school, like
Yes.
in
Okay.
an organized way, but not like now I rip it in the classes, which is it's
Yeah.
nice, but I want
Yeah.
to make more impact. Now
Yeah.
because of the COVID and everything, we are all stuck at home, so
Yeah.
it's not really happening. Zoom is good, but it's not the same. It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
hard, and especially now where they are all day on the computer already.
Yes.
And to be honest,
Yeah.
even on normal days, if you can call it, like we don't have any more normal days, but
Yeah.
here in Thailand they have so much extra classes on
Okay.
after school on weekends. It's like if I think about my childhood, like wow, these kids are it's crazy.
Wow.
And it's all just so they can keep up with school. So it's not even like classes
Okay.
about like you said dancing and stuff. No, it's.
Yeah.
I wish it was
Okay.
something that they can actually enjoy. No, it's like
Yeah.
extra classes for science, especially in I teach an English program for
Yeah.
Thai students, so they kind of struggle with the language on
Yes.
top of the science. So they
Yeah.
have extra classes in science, in Thai, and in maths, and in other subjects. And sometimes they go to Bangkok. We live about 2 hours from Bangkok.
Wow.
So like weekends are all it's study, 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 study.
Wow. So
So
there's a lot of pressure.
yeah,
Sounds like in terms of just a society, there's a lot of pressure on and
and
excelling at the academics presented in school. Is that
yes,
whether to get the extra study, extra classes?
yes,
Yeah.
and if you want some more on top of it, there's a lot of don't want to sound racist, but a Chinese culture that the
Mhm.
parents say, okay, you're going to be a doctor, and that's it. If you like it or
Yes.
not, you're going to be a doctor, or whatever they decide that is good for you, for the kid. And I
Yes.
spoke with some kids, and they don't want it. They really, it's not no interest whatsoever. But they feel so much pressure to satisfy the parents, and you can see how much they suffer, especially if they have an older brother or sister that is already succeeding in this area. It's so much
Mhm.
pressure, like wow, and they do break eventually.
Yeah.
It's yeah, the stress here is wow.
Wow, that's I see to some degrees the dynamics of that for sure here. It's just, I think it's the hyperachiever in the parents,
Hmm.
so much coming out of,
Yeah.
good intentions, as we know, but it really comes out. It, yeah, maybe we could just explore a bit more because it is such a, so there's the school dynamics, which, you've outlined, where there's this curriculum that's like, well, why? Well, because I can't really give you an honest, reason why in this day and age that you are learning this way. And then, another aspect is, the young people are really getting a message of pressure that is, it's not connected to what's inside of them.
Hmm.
Um, and so that, I mean, that can come from home and come from the whole society. And it's just like my sense of, in terms of young people really, really beginning to get into this, there's the exposure part, which itself can just be, life changing for students, just to even know that something like growth mindset exists and that we can train our brains. It's
Hmm.
just, but in terms of at all moving towards this sense of, really engaging young people in mental fitness, my sense is that for it to really work, to some degree, it really has to come from the inside because it's inner work.
Yeah.
Um, and so, what do you, because this is where it's like I'm looking for these kinds of ways of to connect with what is already there on the inside that they already. I'm a fan of BJ Fogg is a behavior scientist at Stanford University. You might like his book Tiny Habits because it might give you. I
Okay.
know I've really enjoyed it, and I've integrated some of his work and just his overall ideas and how I am teaching young people. But it's like, one of the first, is like one of his first maxims of behavior change, or forming a habit is you help people do what they already want to do, you know?
There are two things here.
Yeah,
First, they need to know what they want to do because
exactly.
they get
Yeah.
it. Like we said, the parents give them the impression that this is good for you and this is what you want,
Yeah.
and then they start to struggle because this is not what they want. And when
Yeah.
they fail in this path, they think that something is wrong with them.
Yeah.
And you just have to give them the tools to understand that nothing is wrong with you if you're not succeeding in this field or this path because it's not your path.
Hmm.
And it's a huge shift in the mindset
Hmm.
that nobody tells them. So how should they know? Like,
Hmm.
and of course, we all, when something happened to us, we immediately think, oh, something is wrong with me. I'm not good at it.
Yes.
all these saboteurs thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
And uh, to be honest, when Shirzad came and tell me, like, actually, you have this voice in your head and he's lying to you, I said, like, okay. So when I hear this voice again, I stop listening. But he told me to stop listening to it. Like, he gave me the tool
Yeah.
to deal with this voice.
Yeah.
The kids, they're so lost. It's unbelievable. Like, they they don't know what they want. They try.
Yeah.
I had a student that I coached. She's switched like maybe 5 or 6 faculties. She already finished high school, and
Yes.
she wanted to be a doctor, and then she quit, and she started something else, and she quit and started
Yeah.
something else and quit. By the way, it costs a fortune every time, but anyway, so She is the daughter of a good friend as well, and
Yeah.
I coached her, and it was like uh, what happened in her head. It was so disturbing. She wanted to make her parents happy. This
Yeah.
is it. So she wanted to be a doctor because her father is a very good man and want to help people, and this he's not a doctor himself, but
Yeah.
and he didn't tell her to be a doctor. He just gave her the concept of helping people is good.
Yeah.
That means that you are a good person. So she wanted to help people. So okay, she
Yeah.
wanted to be a doctor, but she hated. It's not for her, and she
Uh-huh.
failed in it, and she struggled because this is what she thinks she wants.
Yes.
And her mother was completely on the other side. Do whatever you want, just be happy, which is great. But the conflict between total freedom and not this is what you want, and she was in
Yeah.
the middle, and she struggled and moved, and by the end of the day she wanted to be a chef. And she started to cook. Now because of the COVID she stayed at home, so she started to cook and sell it, and like
Yeah.
even it's not a real business yet, but this is
Yeah.
what you really love to do. And
Wow.
so all these struggles that they have,
Yeah.
like all of us, we all have this.
Yeah.
I think the PQ coaches get it now that okay, stop, do some PQ reps, and listen to the voice, and decide if you want to listen to the voice, and you have the
Yeah.
tool to just shut up. I'm busy now with the real stuff.
Wait, I want to quote that. Just shut up. I'm busy with the real stuff.
Yeah, you know what? I think at the beginning of the PQ, there was, I think Shazad said it somewhere, just the saboteurs came from when we were 6 years old. And if you
Mm.
listen to the saboteur, it's like you're listening to advice from a
Yes.
6 years old, 6 years old,
Yes.
which is like, what, just, this is what I'm doing all the time. Just go play. I'm busy now with real work. And it
Yes.
helps. It really works.
Yes. Don't let the 6-year-old drive the car.
Yeah, exactly.
Buckle in the 6-year-old. Tell it it's okay, but I'm gonna be yeah.
Yeah, you just go play there, and I'll see you later. Don't worry, but just and so many people listen to this terrible advice from a 6 years old,
Yes. Yeah.
and it's time. We are lucky to have this tool to make a
Yeah.
decision to shift when we notice it now, and
Yeah.
so many people don't have this tool. So that's the
Yeah.
idea of bringing it to the kids that you can
Yeah.
see them when they sit in the class, and you can see it in the eyes. It's like, what the hell is this science thing? It's not for
Yeah.
me. I hate it. I'm when you give them exercises, you can
Uh-huh.
see by the way they don't try. You just wait for it
Yes.
to over and get the answer, and you try to motivate them, but it's not working really. It's
Yeah.
so
You can.
fixed that I cannot do it, and it's again, you plant the seeds, and it takes a long time to grow. And there's another thing. It's I have two classes, for example. One
Mm-hmm.
class is very dynamic and mostly growth mindset, so they get it faster and use it. So you see that the students in this class that are fixed mindset, they kind of follow along, and you can see them grow slowly, but they
Mm-hmm.
get closer to the majority of the class. The
Mm-hmm.
other class is mostly fixed mindset. So
Yeah.
the 3 or 4 students that are growth mindset, they just fly away, and the rest of the class is just there, and they feel it's like I'm with my friends. Nobody get it. Nobody want to study this, and I'm good. I have my friends here. They can find
Yes.
comfort in the
Yeah.
crowd.
Oh.
So and you know what?
Okay, I circled. Yeah.
Yeah, I had it before with some problematic students.
Yeah.
And I made an experiment. Just it was a group of like maybe 5 students that refused to study anything,
Yes.
failed every subject, and caused problems. So I started to break it by taking one of them and just
Yeah.
encourage him, give him points for just showing up, and break him. Now
Yeah.
he has a lot to lose. Like he got already something, and he
Uh-huh.
started to shift. and then another one and another one. So they felt like I broke the group. The power they had, like we all failed together. Just
Oh,
no, it's only you. And then it's like, oh, so okay, I better do something.
oh, oh. Wow. Well, it's so fascinating how you're using whatever resources you have within that classroom setting and it's just like I'm curious when you were coaching the young woman who was very lost about where she was this before you had discovered PQ or were you using PQ as part of that coaching?
It was
It
before the
was
PQ.
before.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
when how young have you done in terms of coaching, like more one-on-one coaching, with young people?
Um, I tried with a couple of students before, like
Yeah.
a secondary school level. It,
Uh-huh.
it, it didn't work well. I think they don't aware or the concept of coaching didn't really work for them. Like for one thing,
Uh-huh.
I'm their teacher, which I think
Okay, so you already were their
it's a wall
teacher.
that I have to cross. And
Yeah.
the whole coaching thing, like what do you want from me, almost,
Yeah.
so they more want advice, they want an adult advice, not
Yes.
like when you ask them questions like,
Not it coming from
yeah,
yeah.
this is why I shifted to the Life Skill Academy. It's like, okay, I'm going to teach you the skills and
Yeah.
throw coaching inside, like ask you
Yes.
question and let
Okay.
you you know start to think about things.
Yeah.
We are not going to call it coaching, even though everybody
Yeah.
know I'm a coach, but
Yeah.
like gamification, you just play a different game. Uh,
Yes. Embedded in it.
yeah, and you know what? It's even
Yeah.
for adults. I mean, I tried to coach my
Yeah.
wife at the beginning, and
Yeah.
it just no, she completely blocked me out. And I
Uh-huh.
was like, why? And then she like listened to people on YouTube and Instagram or whatever, and she came to me with things they said. And I said, but I told you this, like we talked about it like a year ago. Yes, I know. So why she listens to them and not to me? By the way, it's the same with fitness. I was
Yeah.
trying to help her get in shape,
Yeah.
and like, oh no, it's too hard, it's this and that. Okay, we went to the gym, hired a trainer, paid him a lot of money,
Mhm.
and he kicked her ass way more than what I did, and she did everything he said. So why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
So it's again, we see people like, I'm a husband, not her coach or
Yeah.
trainer. I am their teacher, not their spiritual guide or coach.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, again, it's a process that you have to break it step by step. That's what
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. I'm curious um how did the young people who were your students, how did they end up, even though it didn't, work for you to be their coach, how did they end up even trying that? What was the issues? Were parents coming to you with a
Yeah,
problem? It was the
exactly. It's
parents?
a great question, and this, I think this is why it didn't work,
Yeah.
because parents that were also close and they really liked me in the way I teach, in the way
Yeah.
I inspire them in the class. Like they probably
Mm-hmm.
went home and say, "Oh, Teacher Rambo is great," and this and that, and
Mm-hmm.
I try to bring the best of them. So they took it
Yeah.
home, and the parents say, "Oh, great! Now he's also a coach, so go to
Yeah.
him and be coached by him." But the
Uh-huh.
student, it came from the parents.
It
Yes.
came from the parents. It came from the parents.
So it's
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, it's a good one, because the teen coach challenge that I told you about, she
Yeah.
mentioned there that when you have the like discovery call, or to just
Yeah.
for the first time, bring the whole family to the
Yes.
call, the father,
Yes.
the mother, and the teenager. It's not like
Yes.
with a teenager or with a mother or father, it's everybody has to sit there together, and it's like, yeah, it makes sense. It really
Yeah.
makes sense. It's a family coaching. It's not teen coaching.
Yeah, I mean that launches me on a whole other topic, which is why I consider myself a family coach now. I won't coach, or work with young people without,
Yeah.
that sense that it can't just be fix my kid. It just
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
just will never ever work. But
So
I
I'm.
am, but I do think that in terms of some of this, because even for your Life Skills Academy, um, like I'm just, if I look at those life skills, like maybe if I'm a teen, I'm like, I would like to procrastinate less, but I don't know if I went to a class on procrastinating less. Like if I'm a teen, but maybe, how are you feeling? Like, will it be parents who are like, oh, I want these life skills for my teen, and then there's enough interest around that sense of, well, if I, procrastinate less, I could, spend more time doing what I enjoy, or if I learn about financial, taking care of my finances, I could, be more successful for myself. How are you? I know that with the COVID restrictions, it's not like you can necessarily just launch this, but I really am curious about how you're
it,
thinking about it.
it all goes back to the mindset. And I
Yeah.
actually did it with my wife. This, what is it, Brian Tracy. He wrote the
Mm-hmm.
book Eat That Frog, if you
Eat
heard
the
about it.
frog.
Yeah, it's a brilliant book. It's about productivity, and
Mm-hmm.
it's brilliant. It gives you really uh, amazing tips that you can, amazing tools that you can apply every time. So the story with the frog, which resonates with so many people, it's that you have to eat that frog. Yeah, it's ugly, it's disgusting, but you're going to have to eat it anyway. So eat it first. The first thing you
Yes.
do is the ugliest task that you have, the biggest and ugliest. Get rid of it, and all the other
Yeah.
things will be so much easier. And it
Oh,
works.
like I'm wondering if I'm a teen, I would like to take a course in eating frogs.
You know what? I did it with my wife, and now when she procrastinates about something she needs to do, like the
Yeah.
laundry or something she hates, and like
Yeah.
just all you need to say is just eat that frog,
Yeah,
and
it's
she get
so
it, and she
fun.
she wake, she get up and do it, and they say I ate that frog. So it
See,
works.
I think I mean, it's just a small thing, but I think that this is where we find that, because it just that phrase, eat the frog, for example, it takes it out of the should and the some of the I'm supposed to, and
Mm,
and 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 it moves it where it's like,
I want
well,
to.
that could be kind of that got my interest, and it could be kind of intriguing, like, and yeah, once I eat this frog, then the frog is out of the picture. I've eaten it.
Yeah.
I could go on with my life.
And
I'm
now,
just curious.
there's
Yeah.
another one that says it's a general or someone that he wrote a book. I haven't read it, but it's the same idea of make your bed. So the first thing you do in the
Mhm.
morning is make your bed, and people say like, well, what's going to change if I make my bed?
Yes.
And he said
Yeah.
it's not about being
Yeah.
productive; it's about finishing something so you feel good about
Yes.
yourself, and from
Yeah.
there on things just fall up into place. So again, we think about procrastination, or oh, it's a big issue,
Yeah.
it is a big thing, but we tackle it from different directions. And
Mm.
by the way, you mentioned a huge point of all this, I have to do something,
Yeah.
and we have to shift to I want to do this something. And it
Yeah.
works. I did like my diet. I lost 10 kilos just
Well,
with this
yeah.
tweak. It's not like I
Yes.
have to lose weight. I want
Yes.
to lose weight.
Yes.
It's such a huge difference.
So this is where, because this is something I'm thinking about a lot for reboot troubleshoot, because I think that it will only really work to the degree that we can tap into. And maybe part of it is a shift from a should to a want.
Mm,
But there's gonna need to be some kind of want and coming from the inside. And so it's just like, and where, I mean, one thing that I think that because we're looking for specific areas of coaching where it's not just for reboot troubleshoot, because we're looking to kind of push some of the boundaries of how young, right? And begin to maybe even have, like you were saying, the group, like if we have high schoolers, talking about this to middle schoolers, or seniors talking about it to freshmen. How does that shift where it's like, oh, we can't just be fixed mindset together because someone else is
mm.
already kind of, one of us is leading some of the way. So it's just like, is there any, I don't think we will find it right away, but some kind of intersection, around, I mean, I think school stress is a very practical place to start because it's stressful,
It
right?
is.
It's like it is. Go ahead. You have some thoughts?
Yeah, yeah. Just think about the PQ. It just reduce the stress by shifting the mindset, not by changing anything in the world or in what I
Yes.
have to do. It's everything is the same. It's just the way I see it now. So, for
Yeah.
example, when I teach them about growth mindset, of course, there's an analogy that if you want to have a big muscular body, you have to
Yeah.
challenge your muscles. If you just lift 1 kilo
Yeah.
dumbbell, nothing happens. You can do it all day, nothing happens. You need
Yeah.
real heavy. It has to be hard, and you have
Mm-hmm.
to challenge your brain to
Mm-hmm.
have a much better, faster brain that can serve you
Mm-hmm.
better. And I also show them the neurotransmitters that shoot in the brain when you think. So
Yeah.
it's kind of visualize that something is actually happening in the brain when something
Yeah.
is hard. So now I start to shift it from I have to do something to I
Yeah.
want to do it because it's a challenge, and challenge is good.
Yeah, that is hard though. That, I mean, that's where we want to go. But
You
as
know
an
what?
initial
It's super
gateway,
easy. I
it
mean,
is
I
okay.
did it on
Okay.
myself when I started intermittent fasting. So I don't eat in the
Yes.
morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the night before, I was sitting with all these PQ reps, and I said, okay,
Yeah.
tomorrow when I'm not going to skip the breakfast for the first time, I'm going to be hungry, obviously,
Yes.
because my body is waiting for the breakfast. So I'm going to be hungry, and one the technique is to say, no, I'm not hungry, I'm not hungry, I'm not hungry.
Yeah.
Doesn't work because I am hungry. But
Yes.
what I told myself is, I'm going to be hungry, and
Mm-hmm.
that means that my body is burning the fat, and I want to burn the fat. So hungry
Mm-hmm.
is good. So if I
Mm-hmm.
feel hungry, I should be celebrating because this is exactly the goal. I want to be hungry.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the funny thing is that the next day I was hungry, and you start to feel it like it's a physical
Yeah.
thing that you feel it. You are hungry. Your stomach is.
Yeah.
And I said, like, I think it was 10 o'clock. It was really strong hunger. And I said, no, I'm going to eat at noon. And
Uh-huh.
it's good. Burn the damn fat. That's what I want. So I'm
Uh-huh.
happy. It's like I feel the pain, and I am happy about it because I was ready. I told myself that this
Yeah.
hunger is good. And like magic, after 5 minutes, it disappeared.
Yeah.
Gone. No more hunger. If you think I'm not hungry, you think about food and you become crazy hungry.
Yeah. No, I can see that reframe. I can see that reframe once we get into it, once we get into it. But I think one of the things is that we're looking for some buy-in from the beginning, right? Like how do we even get that sense of and if we're saying, oh, I will show you how this is like the benefit. The benefit is I'm going to show you how challenges are good because they're making you stronger, right? They are.
Yes,
But it's like that doesn't feel like a benefit. That feels like I'm just going to be facing challenges. So, I mean,
it's like going to the gym. It's really hard. And by the way,
yeah,
people who don't go to the gym and see all these bodybuilders, they
yeah,
think that they like to work out at the gym. No, they don't. Nobody likes it.
they like it.
It's painful. It's hard. You sweat. Your heart is working so hard. It's
Hmm.
they can see beyond the workout, the benefit
Yeah,
beyond. So they go through the pain because they will feel so much more amazing after it. So
yeah,
when I tell myself, okay, I'm going to challenge myself because it's good. So yeah, through the challenge, it's hard. But I know that
hmm,
when I finish, if I eat that frog or I completed the challenge,
yeah,
I feel good about myself. And this is where I
mm-hmm.
celebrate, like, yes, I did it.
Yes,
E-
celebration.
Even though it's
Yeah,
something small, just go to the gym. You know what? In the
yeah,
morning, I do 20 minutes Tabata, if you know what it is. It's like workout
uh-huh, yeah,
idea.
yeah,
And it's like basically it's 4 minutes for one cycle. And if I do even 4 minutes, this is it. I work out for the
yes,
day.
yes,
I'm done. I ate
yeah,
a frog, a small frog, but I ate it. And
yes,
I usually do like
yes,
20 or 25 minutes every morning. And it's not
yeah.
because, yeah, I'm going to work out. Yes. No, it's not fun.
Mhm.
But I know that
Yeah.
after this, after the shower, I feel so great and I did it. And now
Hmm.
the day is just so much easier.
Mm.
So it's again, it's a
Yeah.
mindset thing to like the hard stuff is the good stuff.
Okay.
And again, it
All
takes
right.
it.
I'd like to bounce off maybe two ideas from and where you can have the two because I like looking into the world for and this is why I'm talking to you and talking to everyone, because I just feel like, we do not have to reinvent the wheel. We can piece a wheel together. So there's two examples that I would like your perspective on, because they're examples that I'm thinking a lot about. Um, one is just I don't know if this is the case in Thailand, but you might have standardized testing. Do you have standardized testing
Yes,
like
yes,
that? Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, yeah, like for college admissions and these kinds of things. So and I can send you the link for this, but it's called Prep Matters, and he actually, and so it's founded by Ned Johnson, and he actually co-wrote this wonderful book. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. I recommend it to all parents. It's called The Self-Driven Child, and it really
Okay.
talks about the science and sense of giving your child more control in their lives. And that can be even a way to begin to have conversations with parents because he is a clinical child psychologist. He has, the research behind him in terms of how, if, in terms of the life outcomes that you want for your child,
Mm.
actually giving them more of a sense of ownership and control in their life is so key for that. So anyway, Ned Johnson co-wrote that book, and he also is founder of Prep Matters, and he really brings those same um, you know attitude and life skills and so much of what PQ is about and what you're talking about as well to the recognizable challenge that the parents want and definitely a subset of students want, which is to do well on say the SAT so they can get into a good college. And so one of the things they talk about, and it's more more like it looks more on their website, it looks more standard, like just
Mm.
prep matters. But then when you get on the inside, there's all these, tutors where in the process of tutoring, they really help that sense of the ownership and you will actually not just do well on the test by going through this process, but you're going to learn something more about yourself and you're going to grow as a human being so that you can then apply that later. So I find that a very interesting model where you can almost have a front page where it's like test prep, do well on the SATs,
Mm.
and then you get into it and it's like, well, if you want to do well in the SATs, you're going to need to have a growth mindset because it's not going to be easy and you're going to need to learn these kinds of mental fitness skills so you're less stressed on the day of the test. So that could be, that's one aspect where it's more tying into some of the pressures that are already there. So I'll just pause and see what you think about that.
Yeah, I actually tried it in the class.
Yeah,
I'm still doing it. It's like
yeah,
like I said, I'm teaching science, and it's always a dreadful thing for them because
yeah,
they have to think a lot. So I explained to them that it's not about the problem. It doesn't matter if it's science or maths or whatever problem you have in life. It's never about the problem. It's about how you deal with the problem.
hmm,
And we even adults, like we see problems as something we have to like
yeah,
survive or avoid, or it's not like problem is just another challenge and we have to think how
mhm.
can I win.
Yeah.
and
So
and
here's,
if I
yeah,
win, it says something about me. It's not even about the problem. Our problem
yeah,
is in life are our own
yeah,
creation.
yeah,
If you think about it, really, even COVID and everything, like, of course, it's huge, it's out there, but how we deal with it, it's what
yeah,
determined our happiness or stress or anxiety, or, when people go crazy at home and like, why?
yeah,
It's because the stories
yeah,
they make.
yes, yeah,
It's not about the COVID. I mean, me and my wife can be locked in the house for months and we are sure we have our own space and we are okay with together. We're not like, oh, I have to get out. We would like to go and travel again, but
yeah,
okay, we understand. It's how we deal with the problem. It's not the problem that is the problem.
yeah, yes, yeah. And I would wonder, I would just wonder because you're doing that within the context of they're already there in the science class. But what if it's possible to identify something that, like those extra classes that, students and parents are signing up for, where you could create your own culture and curriculum. So that's one model that I'm considering because I think there's already that I want to some degree there's already among parents and some young people, I want to do well at this. And
Mm.
I would sign up for an extra class, or sign my child up for an extra class, ideally together. The other, and I have a meeting right at 9, so I'm gonna have to kind of go in a second, but I'll just throw this out too, which is because I think you would so love Jim Quick. So Jim
Yeah,
Quick, yeah, okay,
yeah, of course.
because I just think that it is fascinating how we never are taught, how to, remember and recall, and even the speed reading. So, like, I mean, I could just so imagine, like, since there's all this pressure to put in this time and do well in school. I mean, what if there was even a course kind of like what Jim Quick does, like with his Quick students, where it's like you can do this in less time, you can do better in less time. And, part of that, as Jim Quick talks about, is, learning is state dependent. So
Mm.
it's really dependent on your state of mind. And so, like, it just seems like a match made in heaven in terms of, maybe a young person is not going to just be immediately like, oh, I see the benefit of mental fitness and taking on challenges and seeing challenges differently. But I think a young person can be intrigued by like, instead of this taking 7 hours for me to read, I could actually read it in 4 hours, like half the time, and recall better and do better on the test for it. So
Yeah,
that's just something I'm kind of thinking about. But
absolutely. I mean, I'm building my Lab Skill Academy right now, but
yeah,
this is the idea. It's like I'm not gonna sell you PQ or positive
yeah.
intelligence. It's like what is the end result? So you do the
What?
homework in less
Yes.
time, less
Yeah.
stress. You're gonna be successful. You're gonna make tons of money or whatever that you want. People like
Yeah.
money, so it's a good point. Like you're gonna be rich. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah. See, now I'm interested.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not
exactly.
sure about your course on finances, but like, how to, in terms of just being like a young person being excited about just like, oh, learning about financial things. But it's
So
like, if it's like, like, oh, I could actually be more successful,
yeah,
wealthier
yeah, yeah,
by using my brain. Oh, I am so sorry. I have to go.
yeah.
So I'm not
Sure,
late for
sure.
the next one meeting, but I just so appreciate this. I think it's this reality check,
Mm.
of what really, like, I just love the reality check because that's where it all happens in reality, right? It doesn't
Yeah,
happen in
yeah,
our ideals. And then, it'd just be so great. I'll check out that, your Facebook posts and continue to watch what you share with PQ for Schools. But I really appreciate you taking the time to brainstorm with me and
yeah,
get into the minds of young people so that, yeah.
yeah. Thank you. It was lovely. I really enjoyed this little discussion we had here. It's lovely.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, best wishes. I'm sure we will be in touch. All right.